I'd like to take a moment and wish our grandparents a happy Grandparents' Day. Thank you for what you do and what you're going to do in the lives of your grandchildren, because you make parents' lives 10 times harder than they need to be when it comes to raising their children, because you spoil them rotten and send them right back home. Shame on you. You remember how bad you used to hate when your mom and daddy did that? Yeah, you remember when your mom and daddy did that to your children, and they'd come back home, I'm going to get your grandmama or your granddaddy. Yeah, remember? Same thing. But no, I'm just joking. Y'all need to wake up a little bit. I don't know what's going on this morning, and I'm going to get on the soapbox for a moment. We had roughly 70 people last Sunday. And this morning, we're doing good to break 45. And I counted 20 last Sunday that's usually here. And if we'd have had those 20, we would have had 90, roughly. This morning, we're 30 less than what we had last Sunday. So therefore, we're missing roughly 50 people that's usually here. I don't know what's going on, what happened, if they're... Who won the Clemson game yesterday? I don't know. Clemson? Well,
do you know who won the Carolina game?
I sure do. I don't know if that's what's going on, or the Clemson people must have got a little too excited in what they were making to church this morning, and the Carolina people must be a little too down to get up out of the bed this morning. I don't know what the case is, but something's going on. But that's all right. This morning's message is one of those messages that I was hoping that more people would be here, but God knew exactly who was going to be here, so I'm still going to preach it. And some of you may say, well, preacher, why are you preaching to me, or why are you saying that, or saying this? You got the choir here. It don't matter. Amongst the choir, look at the disciples. Amongst the 12 disciples, look at the 2 that one denied God and one ratted out on God. Or it's the same person, excuse me. My goodness, I'll get my stuff straight in a minute. But out of the 12, you have one bad apple. So out of the 45, we may have one bad apple here this morning that needs to hear this message. And I don't know who you are, God does. I don't know your heart. And if nobody here needs to hear it, I needed to hear it, so it's for myself, and I'll be able to go out and I'll be able to be a better Christian myself. After we preach this message, if you have your Bibles, go ahead and turn to Genesis chapter number 19. Genesis chapter number 19. I'm going to take you way on back this morning to the beginning of time when Earth started when Earth was created and Abraham came along and things started happening there, and back to after the flood and after the drought over in the land of Canaan. I'm going to take you way on back to Genesis chapter number 19. 19th chapter of the Bible that was ever written, that was wrote and inspired by God. And when it was wrote, I believe we have a physical story here of a physical place, and it's actually coming back around again. If any of you know your Bibles, if any of you's got little title headings in your Bible by now, you know what Genesis chapter number 19 is, and where we're going to take our text from this morning is found in verse number 15. And if any of you know your Bibles, you know where I'm going with this story. And I don't know if it's because of the way it's because of our way our nation's going is why I'm preaching on the thoughts and on the subjects that I've preached on the last 2 Sundays. Because I believe we are actually living in the last days. I believe that we need to hear it because it's been set aside too long. And I believe that we've been too quiet about it, and we've sat there and we've sat back and let things happen in our nation and in our world. And a lot of people will say preachers is just doing it because of what's going on. No, honey, let me remind you, we're not doing it because of what's going on. We're doing it to remind you that this world's coming to an end, that if a people in a world and a nation don't come and turn from their wicked ways, they're going to bust hell wide open. And you'll see what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah. They did not change, and what did God do to them? He destroyed that city. Honey, America's going to be destroyed. We are living in a Sodom and Gomorrah. It's no longer the U.S. of A. It is Sodom of Gomorrah. Hell-bound and whiskey bent, my friend, is what we're living in this morning, because there's too many people on their way to hell because they grab a bottle in their hand and and were addicted. Sodom and Gomorrah lived that lifestyle. The first look, the second look, and they continue. And we're going to get to the message to see that hell, that last look into the life. We're going to get to the message and see just what sin will do to a man's life. And see what will happen when that first drink occurs. We will see when that first snoring happens. We will look and see the results of sin. And we will look and see the results of a person's lifestyle. Genesis chapter 15. This is the third stage of Lot's backsliding. You say backsliding. I believe Lot was right with God. Lot just seen something that he wanted to try. You know, sin does that. When a person takes that first drink, I'm just going to take one and I'm going to quit. That's all I'm going to do. Never in their mind did they ever end up thinking that they'd turn into an alcoholic or a drunk. When that person takes that first hit of marijuana, they never thought that it could become an addiction and they had to go out and buy drugs. Soon start selling. It looked good. It looked pleasing. When they took that first snort of cocaine, they thought that I'm just going to try it just to see what it would do to me. They didn't know they were going to end up buying it and selling it and lead other people to do cocaine. When they bought that first pill or borrowed that pill from their mama or their daddy or their friend because they was in some pain, and they went and got that pain pill and they took it, man, this thing feels pretty good. Hey, how about let me get another one of those pills, Mike? I believe my back's hurting, but it ain't as bad, but I'm going to take a little bit more. You know, that thing made me feel pretty good. Mike, let me get one more just to get through today. That thing they didn't know they were going to become a good man. They never had no intentions of it. We'll see earlier on in Genesis chapter number 13 and 14 of the things that's going on. And back to Genesis 13 of where Lot and Abraham, they came and they got into a little fuss and a little spasm. How many times have you been in a fuss with somebody and you parted and went your separate ways? Everybody has. If you say you ain't, you lie. You've departed because you got into a fuss and a spasm with somebody. But Abraham loved Lot. Abraham was a man of God. Lot was also a man of God. But Abraham wanted to look after Lot. You'll say, where are you going, preacher? You'll find out later where I'm going with that. That's all I'm going to say. But when they split and parted their ways because they couldn't get along of whose cattle was going to drink from this water and whose cows was going to go under this shed, it was something stupid and petty. Should have never been said or never should have happened. How many times, I'm going to come home for a second, how many times inside of the church house has something stupid and petty caused conflict in the church house and caused people to split and part their ways? That if one would have put their pants on instead of trying to be, I don't know, if one would have put their big girl or big boy pants on, everything would have been all right. But no, one wanted to be babied and one wanted to be watered and petted a little bit. How many times and how many places would this church have been saved if it wouldn't have been for that? You say, preacher, what are you talking about? You know it's the truth. Don't look at me like that. Amen. We're human. We're going to have it. Same thing with Lot and Abraham. But do you know what happened? Abraham stayed where he was at. Lot said, well, fine then. You're going to stay here. I'm going to go find somewhere else to go. Chapter 13, Lot pitched his tent outside of the city of Sodom. And we'll see that every night Lot stood there, watched. Man, Abraham did that to me. Abraham don't want me. I had a pity party for himself. Abraham don't want to help me. I got to do it all by myself, or Abraham don't want to share. But my, that looks good up there. Sodom, let me remind you, Sodom was a city that was very busy. Sodom was probably like Clemson was yesterday evening. Sodom was probably very thriving. Sodom was a place that was very bright from the lights. Y'all ever heard that song, Big Cities and Bright Lights? It's an old country song way before a lot of y'all's times, but y'all still know it. And Lot just looked. Do you want to know how appetizing lights are? And if you say you ain't never been or you don't want to go, there's somewhere you want to go that's bright, that's caught your attention. And some of y'all probably look at me like I'm crazy, and y'all might run me out, vote me out in this business meeting here in a few minutes. I want to go to Vegas. Yeah, see some of them looks, y'all just kidding me. You say, why do you want to go to Vegas, preacher? Because of the lights. I want to see all the hotels and all the cities lit up bright. I think I don't want to go because it's the city of sin and all that. I want to go because of all the lights. Lot looked at Sodom the same way. Man, that looks good. I'm going to go test that out. I want to see what that's all about. Lot pitched his tent on the outside. And then, over a period of time, I should have did the study, but I didn't. I don't know what the period of the time is from Lot leaving Abraham and pitching his tent to the outside of the city, and then from the outside of the city to the time Lot moved in. I don't know what the time frame is, but Sodom, in our terminology today, they turned it up every night. They turned it up, turned it out, and went all out, whatever you want to say. Sodom turned it up. They started getting crazy and wild and living every way they want to. And I heard a young fellow this morning saying of how a young man got involved in alcohol, and he had a full scholarship, and now he's going to college, and now he's going to OC Tech. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with OC Tech, but a young man to have a full scholarship, and he got involved in the lifestyle that looked pleasing and appetizing to the eye and to the mind, and he thought it was going to be something that was going to help him, and he was just going to get through. Honey, it don't happen like that. Once he got involved in alcohol, he lost his whole scholarship, and he's now going to Tech and having to pay out of pocket for everything that he's doing. He had it for free. Lot had everything he wanted. He wanted to have a pity party. Somebody to feel sorry for himself, so he went a separate way. He said, well, you don't want to do it like this, I'm going to this church over here. And you know what happened to that church? Something bad ended up happening over there. Lot had to move somewhere else. That wasn't pleasing to him. Honey, when you move from church to church and back and forth, ain't nothing wrong with the church. It's you. It's a heart problem, honey. There wasn't nothing wrong with Abraham. There wasn't nothing wrong with the land that he was in. But we're going to get into the message in a minute. This is my introduction. I let y'all out early last week, so I got time to make up for it. That's why I didn't bet you in, as I knew what it would be. And we might even break this down to a two-part message because it's going on 11:30. And I'm just into an introduction right now. But Lot went in, finally moved into the main streets of Sodom. He lived on Sodom Avenue. Right downtown, smack dab in the middle, where you could see everything that was going on. And he could be right in the middle of it. The people of Sodom knew Lot's reputation, who Lot was, where Lot came from. And Lot knew what was going on in that city. He knew of the sin. He knew of the lifestyles. Do you want me to tell you how bad Sodom was? People just think of it as a homosexual city. It was more than just homosexuals going on in that city. There was men sleeping with men, women sleeping with women. And do you know, it got to the point they were so nasty and so disgusting. And yeah, that's what it is when a man sleeps with another man or a woman with another woman. It's nasty and disgusting. You are a perverted, nasty individual if that happens. I am sorry, it's the truth. Do you know what it led to in Sodom when they started doing that? It led to them sleeping with animals. Animals. You don't believe me? Read your Bible. Read over in chapter 13 and 14, somewhere around over in there. It said they ended up sleeping with animals. They had the animals to come partake of their lifestyle. I mean, that's just nasty, ain't it? And everybody looks at it as just a homosexual city. Honey, it was much more than just a homosexual city. Sleeping with another man or another woman was just a half of the story. It wasn't all the story. And because of all that sin, Lot knew what was going on. They knew that they would grab them bottles and they would get drunk and start to drinking. And I don't know if they had drugs back then. I feel sure they had some marijuana. They'd start smoking and they'd get high and they'd just start living it up and living loud. And they would get, as I said a minute ago, they would get whiskey bent and hell-bound, and Lot knew their lifestyle and their reputation. They was a bunch of messed up people. Honey, can I remind you that any drug head, he has got a physical, psychological problem going on inside of his head, and he thinks he needs that things to get him through and to get them out of this lifestyle. It's nothing but a mind problem. It's something playing games. And do you know what that problem is called? It's called a satanic spirit that is involved and set camp on the inside of that person's body that's told them that they need this to get through. Honey, can I remind you, when a person gets born again and he gets saved, yes, we're still going to fight them satanic demons and them satanic spirits, but honey, we have one that's greater that lives on the inside of us, and we'll see here in a few minutes that Lot realized who that person was. Yeah, we may get out of the will of God and get into the life of sin for a few minutes or a few days, but honey, eventually you will come back and you won't stay in that lifestyle. If you stay in that lifestyle, we'll see here in a minute what God will do to you also if you stay in a sinful lifestyle. But over in Genesis chapter number 15 is where I want to get to this morning. I'm going to let you stay seated for the reading, because I'm going to read verse 15 through verse number 29 is what I'm going to read. I don't think Lot was an evil person. Lot just got caught up in the lure of Sodom. The word says that Lot looked up and saw that the whole plain of the Jordan was well watered, like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt towards Zoar. So Lot chose for himself the whole plain of the Jordan and set out towards the east. That was over in chapter number 13, is when Lot said that. That's when he split from Abraham. And we'll find out that sin will take you further than you want to go, keep you longer than you want to stay, and cost more than you want to pay. Lot found that out the hard way. Lot didn't listen, and Lot didn't remember. I believe to remember, because once we do something, we know what we're doing. Sometimes something unexpected happens, and it just happens. But Lot looked at that city. I know right now, if I was to go to 5 Points, if I went to 5 Points last Thursday, it was probably getting a little wild and crazy up there. I knew what was going on. You say, what are you talking about? Because Gamecock Stadium, man. 5 Points probably wasn't had much happening in 5 Points last night. Probably not much at all. And because the game, I ain't even getting into the game. But they lost, so they probably didn't turn it up too much. And I know if I go up there, what I'm going to be faced with, what kind of temptation is going to be in front of me, what I'm going to have to look at, what I'm going to have to hear, what I'm going to, if somebody, the wrong person was to ride by, they would think what I was partaking of. Yeah, just because you're somewhere like a club or a bar or somewhere like that, and all that's going on, the perception is not good. Even though you know yourself nothing's going on, but the perception's not good. It's what people perceive. And you know how people are. They run their mouths quick like, and they gonna talk. There's a lot of people can't hold water at all. Just as easy as I can pour this bottle of water right up here, words come out of some people's mouths and they will not hold water. They got to, guess where I seen the preacher at? Guess where I seen the deacon at? Guess where I seen Sister so-and-so at? Guess where so-and-so was? And Lord have mercy, AT&T and Southern Bell ain't got nothing on them people. They get on that phone and they go. And cell phone service is getting a lot better out here because they're putting towers up closer. You say, how do you know? Because I'm actually getting a little 4G service now in certain places out here. And I can actually talk on my cell phone a little bit better. Lot knew what was going on. We'll find the consequences out here in a minute of what's going on. I believe I probably will end up breaking this down into 2 messages. And today you'll probably just get the introduction. But we'll see as time goes on. Genesis 19, starting at verse 15. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take thy wife and thy 2 daughters which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city. Let me remind y'all that from chapter 13 up to now, a lot's taken place. Lot and Abraham argued. Lot moved, sat outside the city. Lot looked, said, I want to go in the city. Lot's in the city of Sodom now, and he's living right there in the middle of everything. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him without the city. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, Escape for thy life. Look not behind thee, neither stay thou in all the plain. Escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed. And Lot said unto them, Oh, not so, my Lord. Behold now, thy servant hath found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy. Let me remind you, when somebody keeps trying to tell you about something that you're doing, and you know deep in your mind, and you're trying to tell yourself that what you're doing is right, but somebody keeps coming to you and saying, hey, you need to quit doing this, hey, you need to quit going there. God sends angels, God sends people to tell children of God to quit living in sin, to quit doing what they're doing. So if you try it every time somebody comes to you and you get mad because they're telling you of something that you're going, honey, more than likely you're doing something wrong and you need to change. Lot finally found grace. The angels finally came. Lot listened. Said, oh, I've got to get out. What does it say? Behold, thy servant hath found grace in thy sight, and thou hast magnified thy mercy. That means he stepped his mercy up a little bit. God started giving magnified mercy. God said, look here, Lot, I've spared you this long. I'll give you this, and I'm going to keep giving it to you. But you got to listen. If somebody's trying to tell you something, you're still doing the things that you've been doing, that the preacher's been preaching to you, telling you to quit talking and living the way you're living, there's something wrong, especially if it hits you hard. If you step on my toes, then something's wrong with the preacher's been doing it, and you ain't changing. God just might run out of mercy on your life. You say, what do you mean? You'll find out in a minute what I mean. And thou hast magnified thy mercy, which thou hast showed me in saving my life, and I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me, and I die. Behold, now this city is near to flee into, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape thither, is not a little one, and my soul shall live. And he said unto him, See, I have accepted thee concerning this thing, also that I will not overthrow this city for the which thou hast spoken. Haste thee, escape thither, for cannot do anything till thou be come thither. Therefore the name of the city was called Zor. The sun was risen upon the earth, and Lot entered into Zor. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. I want to ask you a question I want you to think about. When God saved you, and God brought you out of hell, saved you from hell, put your feet on the solid rock, can you remember places or people that you used to hang around, and once you got saved, they kind of separated from you and something bad happened to them? Or the lifestyle or the place that you was going, something happened to them? Well, God knew that as soon as Lot got out, that he was going to destroy Sodom. My friend, when you stop doing something and you see something happen, don't think it's a tragedy because that thing's been destroyed. Think it a blessing because you wasn't there, that you had sense enough to get out and to go where God would have you to go, and you found grace. And he overthrew the cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities, and that which grew upon the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. And Abraham got up early in the morning to the place where he stood before the Lord, and he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the plain, and beheld, lo, the smoke of the country went up as the smoke of a furnace. And it came to pass, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, that God remembered Abraham, and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in thee which Lot dwelt. Just because Lot got saved from Sodom and Gomorrah, don't mean that sin's going to leave you alone. Just because you've got out and you've come back, don't mean it's still there. Or don't mean that sin's left you alone. You'll say, what do you mean? Lord willing, we'll pick up on verse number 30 here in a few weeks, and I'll preach that part of the message. Just because you get out of the will of God once, and you live a lifestyle that don't please God, and you finally realize where God is, and you go back to Him, don't think you're safe. The devil's still alive. The devil's still walking. Granted, you'll be strengthened and you'll be better, but the devil's still alive. And the devil will still try to get you to do that. You'll say, what do you mean, preacher? I can't get into it. I don't want to go no further into that message. But the devil and sin's a powerful thing. You say, what do you mean? If I don't keep myself right with God and in the will of God, I can just as easily stray and get off the wrong road and off the wrong path. You say, how do you figure? You're a preacher. You don't. I'm human. I'm nothing no better than you. Some of y'all better than I am. I just accepted the call that God put on my life. And I realize, and I know every time I get up to preach, I'm so unworthy. I'm so unworthy just to open this Bible. I don't deserve to have this Bible in my hand. I don't deserve to stand behind this pulpit. I don't deserve to come inside these doors, to even step in the house of the Lord. You say, what do you mean, preacher? All of us is just that rotten poor. All of us is just that full of sin. And all of us displease God and disobey God. But thank God, as we sing there in verse number 19, it says, thou hast magnified thy mercy. God gave us mercy and grace to continue on. That's the only reason we can get through what we can today. God didn't tell Lot to choose the land of Sodom and Gomorrah. God didn't tell Lot to go and pitch his tent on the outside of the city. God didn't tell Lot to go look and be thankful that you're not there. God didn't tell him to do nothing. You know, can I say a lot of times when people leave churches, God don't tell them to leave. That's why they come back. Because they can't find peace somewhere else. I'm going to use you for a minute. Y'all left. And the reason I'm using y'all because y'all ain't going to get mad at me like somebody else would if I was to use people. If I was to use some other people, they'd get mad. Y'all left. Everybody in here knows Mike and Peggy left, what, 3 years ago? Roughly. 4 years ago? Somewhere along in there. How long was y'all here? 6 months. 6 months. Could you find peace at another church? Did you find somewhere where you felt like you could work and be in the will of the Father? Everybody knows why you left, right? Things were going on and didn't want to be a part of it. God didn't tell you. You thought God was telling you. You wanted to think that God was telling you to leave. We all want to think that sometimes. They knew in that 6-month period, God didn't tell them that wasn't the will of the Father. God brought them back. And look what God's doing. God saved 2 of their youngins over the last 2 years, using one as a music song leader, using the other one as a mission director here at the church. Even though they thought they was doing what God wanted them to do, they're back because God didn't give them the peace to do it. And God's given that double blessing, that double grace, and showing favor upon their life. All 3 of their youngins are saved, both of them saved, they're doing good, and all three of them's working for the Lord. You say, what do you mean? Ross is playing music, Aaron's helping take up the offering, Emily's helping her mama do mission stuff. You say, how do you know? Because I've watched her help her. I've watched her help her mama set up for the Lord's Supper. You say, well, that ain't nothing. That's all right. That's still serving God. Amen. The littlest things is serving God. You don't have to be the one that sweeps the floor or cleans the commodes, or you don't have to be the one that cuts the grass. You don't have to be a Sunday school teacher. Everything you do, from the littlest to the biggest thing, from decorating the church, from passing out the bulletins, from saying good morning to everybody, that's working for the Lord. Amen. And a lot of people, to get back to my point that I was going to make, and I'm going to be done, I'm going to finish this next Sunday. I had no clue at all this was going to last this long. This was the introduction to the message. Lot finally realized that he made a choice without consulting God. That it was not the will of the Father for him to go to Sodom. Can I remind you that if you make a choice without consulting God, and you wonder why nothing else is going right or how you want it to go after that choice was made, maybe you need to back up, and as we say, instead of trying to go for it on fourth down, maybe you need to back up and punt and say, all right, I'm going to stay right here. God, what happens, happens. Instead of trying to do it yourself. Lot tried to do it himself. Look what it cost him. It cost him his wife. It cost him a family, a lifestyle. Most importantly, it cost him his reputation. Your reputation is a strong, strong thing in your life. You say, what do you mean? I don't care what people think about me. You lie, you do. If you didn't, you would never say that. Everybody cares what everybody thinks about them. You may want to be big and bad and say, I don't care. Yeah, you do. Some point, some way, you care what people think about you. You want everybody to like you. You want to be a likable person. If they don't like you, let me refer, if somebody says they don't like me, I'm going to make sure it's nothing that I've done because they don't like me. And I'm going to make sure I can sleep at night knowing that, hey, I'll give that person no reason not to like me. Because I'm not going to be the reason you don't like me. If you don't like me and I find out about it, I'm going to come to you and say, hey, why don't you like me? What have I done to you? So if you don't like me and you tell somebody and somebody tells me you don't like me, I'm coming to you. Lot made a decision without consulting God. What choices have you made without consulting God? I'm going to leave a message here this morning, and we're going to pick up next Sunday. Lord willing, nothing don't happen. And preach on the results of Lot's choice to move to Sodom.